2015. This morning it is a privilege to introduce Reverend Tom Greener, who is pastor of Campground United Methodist Church. He arrived in Fayetteville, July of this year. He's married to Karen, and she is employed by BB&T in the Merchant Services Accounting Department. They have two children, Nathan, who is a student at Appalachian State University, studying recreational management, and Sarah, a student at Pittsburgh University, studying nursing. Reverend Greener has served numerous churches, last serving as pastor of Rocky Mount First United Methodist Church, and before that serving as pastor of Mount Sylvan United Methodist Church in Durham. Not only is he well educated, having studied at Duke Divinity School, Southern Methodist University, Wesley Theological Seminary in Washington, D.C., Duquesne University, Garrett Evangelical Theological Seminary in Evanston, Illinois, and Vanderbilt University, where he did his undergraduate work. I'm going to stop now, but he is also very involved in numerous district and conference activities, and it's an honor to have him here as our guest minister this morning. Thank you so much for being here, Mr. Greener.
Welcome.
And would you stand as we honor God, and then we will do the pledge after the invocation.
Let us pray. Eternal God of time and space, you rule over all nations and watch over all the peoples of the earth. You have appointed a place and time for every people, and you have given us a call to this moment in this place. We give you thanks for our nation, for our community, and for our heritage of freedom. We give you thanks for our place within your plan and all the ways that you have led those that have gone before us. Grant us insight into every action, that we may measure ourselves in the light of faith and weigh our decisions on the scales of your mercy. Amen.
Amen.
Join me in the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. You gotta shake it.
This time we need to recognize our county employees and call on Commissioner Faircloth for the first two.
Can I get sweet Georgia Brown? Georgia Green.
Is there any kind of bio or anything?
Music. Where's the music? Come around this side. We love to honor our employees, especially ones that have worked a long time. And I'm looking at, I can't do the math, but I know it's a lot of years. Presented to Georgia Green, Cumberland County Veteran Services in recognition of outstanding services to the citizens of Cumberland County from February 5th, 1979 to December 5th, 1980, and then again from January the 16th, 1990 to December 1st, 2014. Like I said, that's a lot of years of service. We thank you from the Cumberland County Commissioners this February 2nd, 2015. Salute. Thank you so very much. Let John get a picture of us right here, and then I'm going to let you say a word or two. Microphone is yours.
First, I would like to give honor to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, because surely if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't even be here today. And I want to recognize all of the county commissioners and other officials in the building. I just want to say, over my 26 years and several months of working with Cumberland County, I have thoroughly enjoyed working in all the departments, but the last one I worked with was the Veteran Service Office. And I thoroughly enjoyed that department because I have a passion for people, and all my life I've been helping people. And I couldn't think of more deserving people to serve than our veterans who put their lives out on the front line to fight for America, for our freedom. And I just want to say to God be the glory. Thank you to all of you, and I love all of you, and I will always love my veterans, and God bless all of you.
Thank you, George, and I assure you that retirement is overrated. Can I have Nancy Jackson, please? Is somebody comes, you want to come stand with her? Come on up here. Oh, he's going to take it. Okay, I got you. This is Nancy Jackson from the Cumberland County Department of Public Health. And once again, I see a lot of years on here. In recognition of outstanding service to the citizens of Cumberland County from February 28, 1994, I was a commissioner back then, to December the 1st, 2014, from the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners, February 2nd, 2015. We salute you, Nancy. Thank you so much, dear. Let's get a picture.
First, giving honor to God. I thank the Lord for this day and for the years that I've served with the Cumberland County Health Department. It was rewarding, and I was able to accomplish a lot of things that I didn't think I would be able to accomplish. And I give honor to my God and my family once again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Fairclough, could we have them to, Ms. Green and Ms. Jackson to come by and let us congratulate them?
Yes,
on
please
their-
come by and shake the commissioner's hand. That was my omission, I think.
Start over here, ma'am.
Congratulations. Thank you for your service. Thank you so much. You've done excellent. Enjoy it. Enjoy. Be helpful.
Commissioner Lancaster.
Hi, Mac. Good old southern name here, right?
Yes, it is very Macaborsky.
Macaborsky.
Thank you very much.
This is Mac right here. This is Mac. Retiring from the Sheriff's Department
8 years.
28 years. In recognition of outstanding service to the citizens of Cumberland County, January the 4th, 1987 to December the 1st, 2014, from the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners on this day, February the 2nd, 2015. Mac, thank you for 28 years of service,
Thank you, sir.
quality of life, and protecting the citizens of Cumberland County. The floor is yours, and I know you've got a long speech. You got 10 minutes.
Is everybody ready? Good, let's get started. I wish to thank the Lord my God, Jesus Christ. He looked out for me for all these years. I wish to thank Sheriff Butler, one of the greatest sheriffs I worked for. I wish to thank Otis F. Jones, the individual that hired me back in 1986. And I wish to thank the citizens of Cumberland County for letting me serve them as long as I did. Thank you very much. And in the words of Elvis, have a nice day.
Elvis is in the house. Elvis has left the building.
You gotta come this way. Be healthy and happy.
Wait a minute, get a picture. Oh.
Thank you, man.
Next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. I'll ask the manager, are there any changes to the agenda?
No, sir, no changes.
All right, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I
So
move
moved.
that we approve the agenda.
Second?
All right, been a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Unanimous.
Thank you. Are there any items to be pulled from the consent agenda?
Mr. Chairman, if we could pull item F.
Okay. Any other items? All right, is there a motion to approve the remainder of the consent agenda?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Been a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Unanimous.
All right, we'll go to item F. Mr. Adams.
Yes, I just had one question, and now maybe the county manager can answer that for me. Under F, under section 3, where it says the rental is to be paid to the owner for said property shall be $3,750. Is that per month, per year, per what? 5 years. Okay, so I think we need to put that in there because it doesn't say that. I mean, I think it could be interpreted because it doesn't have any kind of idea. So that's for the whole 5-year lease. So I think we need to maybe put that in there. If we could add that, then I won't have a problem with, and I can make the motion
You want
to approve that.
to add that
Yes.
into the amendment, as an amendment to the item F?
Yes, to the contract, that $3,750 is for 5 years, which shall be paid promptly after execution of this lease agreement.
I'll second that.
Okay. All right, and just not to embarrass Mr. Adams, but it is written in there, the term of this lease shall be for a period of 5 years, beginning on March the 25th.
I understand that, but this doesn't say, and I understand the term of the lease was 5 years, but it didn't say, then it comes down here and says, we're going to pay this, but it doesn't say that's for the 5 years or for a month or for anything. And I think on any contract, you need to have clarity as to item 3, that it's for the entire 5-year period of time. Otherwise, it comes back, if he comes back later and says, that was supposed to be for the month, and what do we say? It's because it's silent to that. So clearly, I understand the lease was for 5, but it didn't say as to the payment.
Okay.
I second that, Mr.
Is
Mayor.
that a motion?
All right, there's been a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Unanimous.
All right, we'll go to item 3.
Yes, sir.
Madam Manager?
Mr. Chairman, we have with us today Hannah Ehrenreich with Sustainable Sandhills and also a member of the Air Quality Stakeholders Committee. And she's going to do a presentation on some new EPA ground level zone standards that become effective in 2015.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are y'all? So, very briefly, Cumberland County voluntarily entered into a early action compact in 2002. The early action compact was developed for us with the Air Quality, and the Air Quality Stakeholders Committee was formed as part of that. I'm here representing the Air Quality Stakeholders, and we work with, Sustainable Sandhills works with Fayetteville Area Metropolitan Planning Organization, and we do the coordination for your air quality awareness. We have been anticipating new EPA ground level ozone standards for the past couple of years. We've recently been made aware that they are coming in September 2015. The new standards will set attainment between 65 parts per million and 70 parts per million. I have some good news and I have some bad news. The good news is that if we have another low year in ground level ozone like 2014, we will very likely make the attainment under 70 parts per million. However, we don't know exactly yet whether the EPA is going to use the 2011 to 2013 standards, in which case we are at 69 parts per million. That is right at the ceiling. We also believe that these standards will be evolving. So if we're at 69 parts per million at this level and we are in attainment, we won't be by the time the additional standards come through. The EPA had been thinking about 60 parts per million to 70 parts per million. We could be at 65, again, if we have another low year. If we don't, we really need to take very proactive emissions control standards, emissions control actions, sorry. If we fall out of attainment, there are voluntary and involuntary things that happen to us as a county, supervised by the state. This has a negative impact on our potential future industrial development, our current industrial development, our current ability to put more cars on the road, as well as the kind of, we could be facing sanctions across the board in how our municipal buildings operate as well as our private industry. We don't want that. So the air quality stakeholders is here presenting this information to the county commissioners to make you aware that we believe that we will need to proactively address emissions levels in the near future. Questions?
Any questions?
Just one.
Yes, ma'am.
Do we have, and I don't even know what they're called, you know, the little things, whatever.
The monitors?
Stations, the monitors.
Yes, we
the
have
monitors.
3 air quality monitors.
Do we still have them in the same places that they were? I remember we were discussing one being very close to I-95.
That is correct.
It's still there?
It is still there.
We're in Hope Mills.
And Hope Mill, okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
I have a particular interest in this, and I have basically 2 questions. Number one, we were out of containment, I believe, in 2002, but got in attainment,
Yes, sir.
which was a wonderful thing, and I think we could do that again if we just are bumped over a little bit. But my question is, and this was a concern for me then, and I know the growth that they're having in their communities, but Charlotte and Raleigh still out of attainment, or do you know?
There are a couple areas of the state that are still not in attainment, but we are the only area that has the voluntary ozone advance and has made proactive steps to make sure that we are in attainment. I believe that the area near Mecklenburg County, there is a part of Mecklenburg County that is out of attainment. The only thing about the new standards, and I will tell you that this came as a fairly nasty shock, we won't have any time to come back into attainment. Either we have hit the standard and we are in attainment, or we are not in attainment, and we will face the sanctions.
And how long will those sanctions last? I mean,
It depends on how compliant we are and how fast we can get our emissions under control. This is a downward trend. The EPA is seriously contemplating moving the emission standards down towards 60 parts per million, which we would have to work to achieve. Other parts of the other counties in North Carolina, as well as many other areas in the United States, are far worse than we are, but we can do better, and we need to be aware before this happens.
thank you. Any other questions? Thank you for being here. We appreciate your presentation, and hopefully we'll be in attainment.
Thank you. We look forward to working with you more.
Item 4.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Item number 4 is consideration of approval of a resolution opposing the proposed interbasin transfer modification for the towns of Apex, Cary, and Morrisville in Wake County. And our resolution also provides alternative 2A. I do want to mention that Commissioner Adams is the liaison member to the Public Works Commission, and he actually attended and spoke at the public hearing. And if we have any questions, Mick Nolan from the Public Works Commission is also here.
Thank you. Mr. Adams,
Mr.
thank you for speaking, first of all, and then thank you for bringing the resolution forward, and I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. I'm going to be brief because I think everybody understands. I do believe that this is probably one of the most important decisions for our county that's going to be made in a long, long time. Cary, Apex, and Durham, Raleigh basically have the capabilities to take the water out of the Cape Fear, run it through the wastewater treatment plant, and put it back into the Cape Fear River. But just like anything else, and I think if you looked at the News and Observer, the Cary folk were really honest. They say it was just cost. We don't want to do it because it cost us. But it cost all of those downstream from them far greater than any kind of economic. It's going to dwell with, our water supply as well as the condition of our water. So I was at the PWC meeting as the liaison, and Mr. Nolan is there, and I asked him to come, if he come, to give us a little bit of the technical side of it. I can give us all the part that deals with, in terms of what's going to happen to us, but I think he can give us a little bit of the technical side, Mr. Nolan.
Well, we certainly do appreciate your involvement in being the liaison and helping to try to make sure as many people as possible know what's going on. Cary, Apex, Morrisville are the applicants. And right now they're proposing to transfer an additional 9 million gallons a day of water out of the Cape Fear Basin, Jordan Lake, and discharge it back into the Neuse Basin. Sarah over here has been, 2001 was the last time they came in and asked for an interbasin transfer, and at that time the total that they were authorized was 24. So right now they're already discharging 24 million gallons a day, and so this 9 is in addition to that, which would run the total up to 33. As part of the approval in 2001, they were required to put in almost $300 million worth of sewer outfalls and a wastewater treatment plant to take 80% of what they wanted to use and treat it and return it to the Cape Fear River. That was one of the conditions of allowing them to use the water out of Jordan Lake. So right now, sitting in western Wake County is $300 million worth of wastewater treatment conveyance and treatment systems. And it's really amazing to me that they, even though that was an alternative that they considered, they decided, and the state at this point is in agreement that they don't need to make use of it. And it's very, you don't have to be an engineer just to agree in common sense. Say, well, if it made sense in 2001, why does it, and now it's already built, why are we not going to do that this time as well? One of the other things that we have concern about is there was a comprehensive river model, hydrologic model developed to try to mimic, anticipate what's going to happen 30 years down the road. And PWC and our technical advisors were involved in the development of that model, and it's comprehensive. We were involved with the assumptions and the inputs, and so we can't really argue with the outputs, but the outputs, not surprisingly, show that there will be a decrease in the minimum flows in the Cape Fear River 30 years from now, just from everybody's additional use of the water up and down the river. And the model is showing that if they move 9 million gallons a day, it doesn't make it a whole lot worse than it's going to be anyway. And so once again, we are not in agreement that if there is something that can be done to help minimize a future effect, there's really, as far as good environmental management, there's no reason not to take that action now. And anybody knows, and I know the county and school system and PWC and the city, you try to project 30 years into the future what's going to happen, and we're lucky if we can do 3 to 5. And we just think 30 years is just too far into the future with too many variables, with climate change, changing water use patterns, changing industrial and commercial water use patterns to really make a determination now. Okay, we're going to make this decision now, and we'll see how it works out in 30 years. We think that planning horizon is much too long and needs to be shortened. One of the One of the other things that was of concern to us is this seems to be fast-tracked. The environmental assessment that was done did not come out until December the 19th, right before Christmas and New Year's. And then the first hearing was held in Apex on January the 7th, and they set the deadline for getting comments in is this week. I did petition the state to give us more time because it takes a while for this information to get out, to see if we could have more time to get things conveyed to the public. And their schedule was, they did not want to do that because they wanted it to go to the EMC in March instead of May, because there was another big issue in May, and they didn't want to have two big issues on the same commission agenda, which I said, well, that's not our problem, that's your problem. But they decided to go ahead and push setting the deadline for all comments to come in this week, so that's why it's timely to get this resolution done. One thing that they did allow was for us to have the hearing on the 22nd, I believe it was, at City Hall. I appreciate Mr. Adams being there. Rick Glazer came and made some really good comments as well. The mayor was there, city councilman was there, so we had some good representation there. But there wasn't the numbers were not that big. But nonetheless, the comments that were made were of good quality, and we are also working with the legislative delegation to make sure they're aware of our concerns and ask for their help in making sure that the Environmental Management Commission makes a good, sound decision on this. And I guess the other degree in common sense is, well, we can return this water now, and then there's no question 30 years down the road, well, was it a mistake, or did we miss the mark, or was there some occurrence that came up that wasn't factored in, and so now we have a problem. But at that point, the water's been allocated, and you can't get it back again. Right. So that's a quick rundown of the situation. And the Environmental Management Commission is scheduled to make their decision in March. The hearing officer makes his recommendation directly to the commission. I think there's about 15 people on that commission. They're nominated or appointed by the House of Representatives and the Senate and the governor's office, and then there's some other, have to make sure there's some environmentalist representation on there, engineering, health, science, so forth and so on. So they would be scheduled to make that decision in March.
And I thank you for coming. And Mr. Chairman, I think most of us have been in Cumberland County long enough to know that the late Senator Laura Talley, that was one of her concerns, was the transfer out of the inner water basin. Kind of ironic that the state of North Carolina is like one of the few states that allow a transfer out of inner water basin transfer. So I would encourage us to support this resolution and make sure that we send it on. Thank you, Mr.
I did want to also add that I've been coordinating with Fort Bragg on this issue because, of course, they depend on not only Fayetteville Public Works Commission, but also Harnett County, which gets their water out of the Cape Fear below Jordan Lake, to ask them to give consideration and weigh in on the matter as they deem appropriate. So we wanted to make sure that if they wanted to make comment on the transfer, that they had the information and contacts they needed.
Thank you. Any questions, any comments from anyone else? Glenn, is that in the form of a motion?
It is.
And I second it.
Been a motion and a second to approve the resolution opposing the interbasin transfer. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Unanimous.
Thank you, Mr. Nolan,
Thank
for
you.
being here.
Mr. Chair, can we ask the clerk to send it to all other counties that are downstream? Also, our resolution for their county?
Okay.
Just as a note to that, we have been in coordination with the Wilmington area, and we have gotten a template of the resolution to those folks. We didn't send it to everybody, but we did with Harnett County, Bladen County, and New Hanover County. They did get it, so, but that's certainly a good suggestion.
Thank you.
And I think Harnett County has already approved it too, from what I was told the other night at the Mid-Carolina Council of Governments. They're right on
Well,
top of this.
Thank you for your interest and participation in authorizing the resolution.
Thank you.
Next item is nominations to boards and committees. The Cumberland County Juvenile Crime Prevention Council, we have one vacancy. Are there nominations? We still need a commissioner, is that correct?
Mr. Chairman, I thought we were waiting until we've discovered when the meetings would actually be held, and that's when we appoint the commissioner. I thought we were under the assumption that the meetings were about to be changed.
The meetings, according to this memo, they're the second Wednesday, right now, of each month at 8 a.m.
Right.
And do you expect that to change, Ms.
We're
Cannon?
working on that. I did not, this probably shouldn't have been put on this agenda, and that's my error. Let us bring it back at the next meeting and work with JCPC about modifying the time.
Okay. All right, Mr. Fairclough.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I looked into this thoroughly, and I know that Glenn has been looking into it also. I noticed that there are a lot of high-level type officials that are on this committee, and what they have all done, they have designated another person to take their place. So, you know, if a commissioner decides to take this position, then they need to designate somebody too, in my opinion, but that'll be for that individual to decide. But I just wanted to point that out.
Okay. All right. Any other comments? All right, we'll move on to the next one, the Federal Area Convention and Visitors Bureau, 2 vacancies. Mr. Keefe?
Actually, Mr. Chairman, I have a question for the county manager. There was some question about the authenticity and the protocol of selecting these people. Is that still in question?
I believe that these 2 positions that are being moved forward are a recommendation of the chair and the CVB president. I'm not sure that these have been run through the Hotel Motel Association.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Chair, the standards for those positions are that they're nominated by the local hotel and motel folks. And I don't believe that has ever happened. I just think that we need some clarification on the proper procedure for selecting these folks. And secondly, there's another person, item B, this one particular person is appointed to change positions, but as best I can tell, she has not attended very many meetings. So I'd request we delay.
You making a request to delay this?
Yes.
All right, I have a question too, and maybe the management or the attorney don't have an answer for this. How do we hold this agency accountable? I know it's legislated this way, but how do we hold this agency accountable? Does anyone have an answer for that?
Their revenue is designated by statute.
But I'm not talking about the revenue
I understand,
but I'm talking
you
about
control the money.
the people that are on this board. I mean, it seems like that, and I'll just be very blunt about it. It seems like there's an awful lot of money that goes into this organization. And there's basically, a CEO of this organization or a manager. It's designated as to who serves in what positions. I just feel like that needs to be looked into and possibly changed. I don't know how you do that, but it would be legislation that would be proposed, I'm sure.
That's our framework and provide the board a memo of what the statute contemplates anyway.
Okay. Mr. Keefe, was that in the form of a motion, or let me call on Mr. Adams
Yeah,
first?
and, Mr. Chairman, I would echo Mr. Keith, because under B, I think that was the conversation that he was talking about. And it looks as though, for me, the board was just going to move that individual from a nominated spot to one of their appointed positions. But then the last sentence gives me some concern, because evidently she hadn't been making the meetings. Says if she does not attend, we will replace that position. So, and I think that was the whole concern about that. And I read that, and it just, I echo your concerns with some oversight, even with the statute. I know when it was set in place, but that just, as with Mr. Keefe and yourself, gives me great concern.
Mr. Chairman, may I add something, please?
Sure.
The city manager and the county manager are both members of the Convention and Visitors Board. I've had a conversation with the CEO specifically about the individual that had not been attending meetings. And then I had a second follow-up conversation when that individual did not attend the board meeting last week. I made the suggestion that she be completely removed from any position. So I was a little surprised when the letter came over, still having her in a position. So I have addressed some of these concerns with the CEO.
Well, I know that the city has a policy about you've got to attend so many meetings. We don't necessarily have that same policy, but we expect people to attend these meetings when we're there, and that's what I'm talking about with accountability. We need, I know y'all are ex officio members, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
I would, Jimmy, is that in the form of a motion
Yeah, I'd like that, Mr. Chair.
to
Just delay.
delay it?
I'll second that.
All right, there's been a second. Any further discussion?
Yes, there's just one more, please.
Okay.
Is this the same organization that has removed Fayetteville and Cumberland County, and now we're the Fort Bragg area?
Yes.
They changed that, I think, after somebody called it to their attention.
I don't think so.
But that is the same organization.
Mr. Chairman, and you asked that question, and that was a question of mine, and maybe either the county manager or the county attorney could, because I look at where it says statutory authorization, and it says members specification, and it clearly lists that my county manager is one of the members. But then I look down and it says that she's an ex officio member. So does the statute make her a member or make her an ex officio member?
She's an ex officio member, which means she holds by virtue of being county manager. That doesn't mean she doesn't vote, or you are a voting member.
Yes,
You're a
I'm
voting member?
member.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
All right, I think we've got the point across, then if there's no other questions or comments, with that, I'm going to call the question. It's been a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
Thank you. Item C, Human Relations Commission, one vacancy.
Mr. Chairman, I would propose Kevin Brooks, or nominate Kevin Brooks.
Any other nominations? Next item is item D, Minimum Housing Appeals Board, four vacancies.
Mr. Chair, I'll take that if you'll let me turn to it real quick, I'm sorry. 5D, correct? Okay. Mr. Chairman, there are several individuals that are eligible for reappointment, so at this time, I would nominate Jerry Hassapis, Louis L. King, Robert Cater, Henry Gibbs Jr., all of whom are completing first term and are eligible for reappointment.
Okay. Any other nominations? All right, seeing none, I'll move to item 6, Mr. Faircloth, the appointments to boards and committees.
I'm sorry, now I've got to go back to where I was. I left my paper agenda over there. Okay. Okay, Mr. Chairman, at this time, there are equal number of nominees for the offices, and I would move that we would appoint by acclamation the following members of the Cape Fear Valley Health System Board for the medical doctor positions: Sanjay Shah, M.D., and Sandra Carr Johnson, M.D., and for the general public position, Sandy Ammons.
Second.
Been a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
We got it.
We got it?
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Unanimous?
Thank you, Mr. Fairclough. Item 7,
Yes,
Madam
sir.
Attorney.
Item 7 is a closed session, sensitive security matters pursuant to North Carolina General Statutes 143-318-11A1.
There's been a motion to go into closed session for a sensitive security matter.
Second.
All right, I'll move that we go into closed session, and a second by Marshall Fairclough. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Unanimous?
Thank you.
Adjourn.
All right, second. Is there any? All right, we got a motion to adjourn. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Unanimous?
We are adjourned. Lordy me.
But the TDA is sort of, you know, we have met the enemy and it may be us.
Well, we got out of that pretty good, didn't we?
TDA.
Hour and 5 minutes.
TDA does.
Pretty good.
Hey, bud, good to see you. God bless you.
Hey, Gilbert. I'm good, and you?